Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank Education Scotland for allowing me to be here today. My name is Martin Gallacher, and I'm the member of the Scottish Youth Parliament for Glasgow Cathcart and the current convener of the Health and Wellbeing Committee at the Scottish Youth Parliament. Firstly, for those of you who don't know much about the Scottish Youth Parliament, I'm going to tell you a wee bit about the work that we do as the democratically elected voice of Scotland's young people. As I've said, the Scottish Youth Parliament is a democratically elected voice of Scotland's young people. We have around 160 members of the Scottish Youth Parliament, all aged between 14 and 25 from all 32 local authorities across Scotland. We come together 3 times a year at events that we call sittings, and the next sitting will be the 58th sitting of the Scottish Youth Parliament, and it will be in East Embrishire at the end of next month. Our organisation was set up on the 30th of June 1999, which makes us 1 day older than the Scottish Parliament and 96 days younger than me, although we don't like to brag too much. We have one very clear purpose, and that is to provide Scotland's young people with a national democratic platform for Scotland's young people to discuss issues that are important to them and be the drivers of change that they want to see in society. We engage with thousands of young people year on year, and in our 2015 national elections, over 70,000 votes were cast to elect our current members, which includes me. We have around 800 young people from across Scotland who registered an interest to become a candidate, and we had a final candidate number of 350. In addition, almost 43,000 responses were submitted to our last manifesto consultation, changed the picture in 2010, and we are currently consulting for a new manifesto, Lead the Way, with an even more ambitious target of 75,000 responses. Our scale of engagement with young people across Scotland continues to grow year on year. We are a fundamentally rights-based organisation focused on giving young people the power to make and be included in decisions which affect them. The United Nations and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which Katie spoke about a wee bit, underpins our core values as an organisation. Our MSYPs, members of the Scottish Youth Parliament, campaign and advocate on issues important to the young people of Scotland. In this sense, we embody Article 12 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which says that young people have the right to have their voices heard. I'm here mainly to talk to you today about the relationship between poverty and health from the perspective of young people, which is why the UNCRC is so important. We believe that the relationship between the two can be understood best from a rights-based perspective. Our current campaign, Poverty See It Change It, was selected to be our national campaign by the previous membership in October last year. Throughout the campaign, members of the Scottish Youth Parliament have consulted with young people in their areas and run sessions on the campaign with lots of fun activities to engage and involve young people in the work of the Scottish Youth Parliament, the work of the campaign and the work of the organisation as a whole. As part of the campaign, MSYP has consulted with young people across Scotland to find out their attitudes to poverty and what poverty means to them. From this, we were able to compile a report which will be released later next month, and it contains views and opinions of around 900 young Scots. And as you can imagine, when it came down to poverty, those young people were fairly opinionated. The document offers the opinions on a range of topics related to poverty and other statistics which are truly shocking, and I personally didn't realise the effects that poverty have on children and young people were as bad until I read the report from cover to cover. I read through the report again before coming here today, and one of the key messages that have stuck with me for a young person is a quote. We don't have any names for obviously privacy reasons, but because my family is in poverty, my mum is a single mum with illnesses. That means we are on benefits and can't always afford to buy lots of food. My younger brother also has type 1 diabetes and is quite depressed about this. My mum has to work very hard to take care of him. That stays with me, and I think it's something I will never forget. And I can completely understand where that young person is coming from, not just through personal experience, but from a professional point of view. It's not just about how poverty takes food from the table and she can't always provide as much as they need, but it's about the happiness of the family because of the illness and the poverty that the family have to live with. And it's quite upsetting that in this day and age that's still something that young people in Scotland, let alone anywhere else in the world, are still having to face. There are 2 articles in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child which relate specifically to our campaign and our research findings, which I personally feel are particularly important considering we're discussing the results of our research. The quote from the young person which I've just read out is one example of the impact that poverty can have on wellbeing, which brings me on to the first article of relevance, which is Article 24, which states, You have the right to the best health possible and medical care and information. Through our research, we found that 42% of the young people surveyed agreed with that statement, and also agreed with young people are in poverty because of things that they can't always control. They recognise that poverty isn't always caused by drugs and alcohol and other health-related problems, and we believe that children and young people living in poverty are more likely to feel isolated, anxious and or be bullied, and they can both have a huge impact on their emotional and physical well-being. Secondly, Article 26 says you have the right to help from the government if you are poor or in need. The findings of our report show that poverty is seen as a major issue affecting young people. In Scotland, 73% of respondents felt that it was very important that the views of children and young people were listened to by governments when they are trying to tackle poverty. Yet, as many felt that as young people they are not seen to be important and their voices aren't important to the conversation. We also found that young people recognise that it is a complicated issue and there are many factors to it, but they do not feel that elected representatives across Scotland fully understand their lived experiences, which is more than facts and statistics and bits of paper. It's personal experience which can, in most cases, offer more. We found that priorities for tackling poverty should be helping more young people in poverty to enter education or vocational training, college, university, etc. Also increasing the national minimum wage, creating more jobs, improving skills in deprived areas, offering free or reduced childcare, and requiring employers to pay the living wage. Clearly, there is a need to ensure that the young people living in poverty are heard to make sure that their voice is heard nationally. As Scotland's voice, as the voice of Scotland's young people, even is the Scottish Youth Parliament's responsibility to promote these voices which currently aren't being heard. And hopefully our own research will enable us to do this. In conclusion, from everything that I've said and our research, it is clear that young people believe that poverty and its causes and impacts relating to health are linked. It looks different on the page from how it's said. Are linked to a failure to uphold and defend their rights as children and young people, and that's something that can't continue. Not only personally do I see that, but I hope that professionals who work with children and young people every day can also see that. In addition, it is clear that young people feel that their voices need to be heard when governments are creating policy which affects them, particularly related to health and poverty. What is clear to us is that these responses can be framed from a rights-based perspective, and in essence, that means ensuring that the promotion and protection of rights of both children and as defined by the United Nations Convention, the rights of the child are at the heart of what we do. Before we go to questions, although you've not really asked any, I think that it would be good to get your ideas and discuss in your tables how you could encourage meaningful participation with the young people that you engage with and work with, and how, from that, how we'd be able to break down negative stereotypes often associated with poverty. So maybe discuss for 5.
Do you want me to repeat that? What the activity?
Yep. So just to discuss at your tables how you could encourage meaningful participation with the young people that you engage with and break down negative stereotypes often associated with poverty.
Okay, and we'll give you 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll take some feedback. Okay, thank you.